It is another edition of Business Digest. Thank you so much for joining us today. I, your host, Anna Iriza, will be taking you through the show. So buckle up and let's have a look at the stories that we have for today. Now, in our first story, we'll be having a look on how cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin can have a major impact on charity giving. Have a look. Bitcoin is an example of cryptocurrency, a new form of digital money and not linked to a government or central bank. The technology which makes this possible is the blockchain, a revolutionary new type of ledger for transactions that is owned and maintained by all the users of the system rather than being controlled by a single authority. Cryptocurrency and blockchain technology have some fascinating features that could have a huge impact on charities and charitable giving. Charitable giving allows investors to help causes they are passionate about, and if their cryptocurrency assets rise in value, donations can be used in some countries to eliminate the capital gains taxes they would need to pay on the appreciation.
You have to add 1,000 euros of Bitcoin to your Paxful account. So you have to have 1,000 euros worth of Bitcoin. Then basically you find someone on Paxful that wants that 1,000 Bitcoins. And there's many people here in Africa that want Bitcoins. And we'll get to why they want it later, right? So all you ask them is like, hey, send 1,000 euros worth of M-Pesa or Rwandan bank transfer to my mother or to sister, to you. And they'll happily do it. They'll send the hand. Then you just release the Bitcoin to them and the deal is done.
Now, speaking of cryptocurrency in general, it's something that is evolving in so many countries, but there are certain countries that are a bit, they have a negative perception towards it. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's for a very good reason. For example, a lot of scams have been associated with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. For the MMM scandal, so many people, especially in Africa, lost a lot of money because of that. So when we talk about peer-to-peer finance, Bitcoin is just one small part of that. It's a technology that's used to give liquidity, right? You do not have to invest in Bitcoin to use Paxful and peer-to-peer finance. Paxful is an exchange, right? Like Skrill or Perfect Money, except there's no fees and you can use it anywhere in the world. People can't take your money, right? So when you use Bitcoin on Paxful, you use it immediately. You're not investing in it or holding on to it. It's just technology. So
now let's talk about the charity works that you do in different countries and what brought you to Rwanda. According to the information that I have, there's a school that has just been opened. Can you brief us more on that?
Yes, it's our Built with Bitcoin initiative. I grew up in New York City. I was born here in Africa to African parents, and I've always had a connection to Africa. I've always wanted to build schools in Africa. It's something I really want to do since I was a little boy, right? And now we can, because we have the ability to do this, and because cryptocurrency can easily, send money anywhere in the world. So our first school we built in Bugesera village. It was a nursery, right? And we chose Bugesera village and Rwanda because Rwanda is the heart of Africa. Kind of reminds me of Wakanda. Our code name for this is Project Wakanda, right? We really believe in Africa, the growth of Africa and the entrepreneurial spirit of the African people. And the best way to give even more momentum is by investing in education. So we opened up the first school. And before we opened up the school, we actually started building wells, irrigation system and filtration systems. That has to come first. And that's actually the biggest problem in a lot of areas and rural areas around the world and in Africa as well. So first comes the water, right? Then we can build the first school. And then finally we can build a primary school for kids that are older. And one of my dreams in these schools is, of course, we're going to give them the basic curriculum, right? We're actually paying for the educators to be educated, year-long curriculums by the Rwandan government. But I also want to include courses on two things I wish I was educated more about, or at all, nutrition and finance. If I was a young man, they taught me how to eat properly, they taught me how to use my money properly, and my life would have been a lot better. Right? So we're introducing that as well.
The company Paxful started by donating $50,000 in Bitcoin to build its first nursery school in Rwanda, with plans to fund and build 100 schools across Africa. It has announced that the second school has helped to finance in Rwanda and has officially been completed and is in full function. It is said to be the first school in the area to cater for students between the ages of 5 to 16. It was completed in partnership with Zamzam Water Charity and will employ 6 full-time teachers.
It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I was just posting on my Twitter that it was just the most epic day of my life. I mean, the energy there when you see those bright, smiling young faces, it's beautiful because you realize, people in Africa are not held back by all the, the junk that they fill our heads up with in the West. And I told them all very clearly, you should not consider yourself third world. Do not look up to those people in Europe and America as something special.
That's something that most African countries are dealing with. Comparing themselves to other countries kind of sets them back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Africa doesn't need to do that. Africa, the African tradition is primarily that of knowledge and wealth. And all it's going to take is one generation for that to happen. 4 years ago, I was homeless on the streets of New York after 11 failed startups, right? And Africa is moving so fast right now. It is absolutely conceivable that within one generation, things would be remarkably different. And that's going to happen. We firmly believe in that. And we're putting our money where our mouth is. I personally donate to that school as well as my company. And we're not going to stop. This is an ongoing thing.
Thank you so much for everything you just shared with us. And I wish you all the best, and I hope to keep on following up on the school and all the projects that Paxful is carrying out. So, thank you. You're still watching Business Digest. We still have more to come. Do stay with us. Now, different businesses keep emerging in Rwanda. In our next story, we'll be looking at what dance business is all about and how impactful it is with businesses in Rwanda.
So, even if I don't see your face and I don't see what your body's doing, which is, you guys have a tendency to just dance this way.
Now, dance business is a business that is quite popular across the world. But when it comes to Rwanda, people are not that very fond of this kind of business. Join me as we welcome Shane, the ballet dance teacher, who carries out dance classes for other teachers in Rwanda. Thank you so much for being here, Shane. Yes. So you're teaching teachers in Rwanda how to teach ballet classes. Why did you choose teachers instead of just students? Typical students, yeah.
I think because there needs to be more ballet dance teachers in Rwanda who have the ability to elevate the art form within the country. And so if I can teach teachers how to pass on the knowledge of ballet to aspiring students or students who are interested in ballet, then I've done my job. So yeah.
So what inspired you to join this kind of business? Because personally I've not seen a big number of males in ballet dancing. What inspired you as a male to join ballet dancing?
I think, I used to do athletics, and then I got injured, and then my teacher said I should look into jazz classes and try and rehabilitate through dancing jazz. I started doing jazz classes and I was fairly good at it, so I just continued, and then I went to a ballet school with no experience of ballet whatsoever. I just had shorts and socks, and my teachers were impressed. Well, the teachers were not impressed, but the director of the school was impressed. And so I got in. His name was Ross McKeem. And that's, so I would say that dance chose me. I didn't choose dance. I kind of fell into it by coincidence, by accident.
Great. So, have you encountered any challenges when it comes to promoting ballet dancing here in Rwanda?
It's, in general, even in the West, it's quite an expensive art form.
Oh, okay.
To buy the shoes, to do the classes. And so I think in general the challenge is finances. So I don't think that it's something for everyone from sort of like a lower income family. So people that can afford to do ballet, tend to be quite a little bit well off, to be honest. Even in the West, not just in this country, even in the West. The thing is that I would hope that with the teachers being developed and them being able to move on the art form, that there can be foundations and sort of like organizations that can enable maybe kids from lower income families to reap the benefits of ballet as well. We have that system in Rwanda, in London.
In London, yes.
We have that system in London where actually now there's more boys doing ballet than girls. Because of the outreach programs and the kind of,
All right, thank you so much, Shane, and good luck with ballet teaching. And I look forward to see how the teachers do in the future.
Hopefully one of them will be teaching at a good school.
Oh yeah? Yeah, that would be really nice.
Yeah.
So you've heard it all from Shane, and for those of you out there that would like to attend ballet classes, there is hope for you. You can attend ballet classes here in Rwanda. So you're still watching Business Digest. We still have more to come. Do stay with us. The art form of cow dung paintings originated back in the 18th century in the province of Chiwungo and was mostly done by women. Originally, the cow dung art was used on the walls of huts people lived in. Today, it is often done on wooden plates and purchased by many, including tourists, as wall hanging. The cow dung painting art form almost died out during the 1994 Rwandan genocide. However, today it is thriving and doing well, providing income for local startups. Imigongo art paintings are only found in Rwanda and have become popular both within the country and with tourists. Its bright colors gracing many hotels, restaurants and lodges and finding its way to the homes of many visitors to Rwanda from around the world. Business Digest got to speak with Charles Ashimwe, the founder of Imigongo Art Center. He got to explain to us what inspired him to be one of the promoters of Imigongo Art in Rwanda.
Imigongo Art Center is a social business, social enterprise. It's a social business is any other business, like any normal business, but with a social drive. So we're here to do art, to be a place to be, to stop, to have something to eat, some good coffee. But all of that, we're doing it because we want that this can be a community place. We started here 7 months ago with probably 0 people working here. It was just me and someone who was helping me out with a few other things. And now we are a team of 25 people, and most of those people have dependents. And our goal was to generate at least 100 jobs for the first 2 years of operation. So I see that for the first 7 months we have about 25, and it means that it's possible the next 13, 15 months, and maybe we'll reach our goal. But even if we don't, which I think is not likely, we will have generated several employments along the way. You know, Imigongo is very interesting art. For when we started here, we also had less ideas of what really the art is about. We had read things, we were so passionate about the art because it's more of like an art that was born here in the East, in Rwanda, many years ago. And along the way, we've been defining processes and consulting other people. And we have understood that this art is actually very unique. It's a 3-dimensional art. It uses natural, basically reusing materials, adaptive reuse, and that's how it's been for the past 200 years. They were getting cow dung, using it on walls permanently, generating paint from soils, red, gray, white, black, all of these natural colors, and they were being very creative about it. And they were basically driven by the idea of making their places look beautiful. And so you can see that the art is very inspiring about our background. It's a handmade process. It's artistic along the way. If you employ machines and lines of production like that, it will lose the nature, it will lose the beautifulness that we're looking into it. So this is the process, you know, getting it right with your hand like this is where the story lies.
And on today's segment of Market Trends, we'll be looking at the Consumer Price Index of the month of December in 2018. The Urban CPI will be the focus of the publication as it is the headline index for monetary policy purposes. The urban CPI increased by 1.1% on an annual basis and decreased by 0.2% on a monthly basis. The annual average rate between December 2018 and December 2017 was 1.4%. Rural CPI decreased by 0.6% on an annual basis and decreased by 1.3% on a monthly basis. Rwanda overall CPI increased by 0.1% on an annual basis and decreased by 0.8% on a monthly basis. The urban CPI is calculated based on approximately 1,622 products in 12 urban centers of Rwanda. The other selected urban indices in this section represent 5 selected urban indices that are Local Goods Index, Imported Goods Index, Fresh Products Index, Energy Index, and Core Index. On annual basis, the Local Goods Index increased by 0.5%, Imported Goods Index decreased by 3.4%, Fresh Products Index decreased by 2.5%, Energy Index increased by 6.8%, and Core Index or General Index, excluding fresh products and energy, increased by 1.4%.
That brings us to the end of tonight's edition. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you all next week. Business Weekly Tips up next. Have a good evening.